Sure. I don't know if we necessarily need it, but sure, we'll take another one. You good? Yeah. You ready? Yeah. How do you want to do this? I'm ready. I don't know that we necessarily need mics, but yeah, it's a small space.
You guys are here for how to make your own cosplay, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. I know nothing about that, but I'll pretend. Tara is on her way. She's still waiting for our pizza to be and we're starving, so you'll have to suffer through us eating pizza up here. Hopefully that'll be okay.
It's bringing the real, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you are all here for the Con Artist panel, so you'll get to see Yuri and Tara eat some pizza.
Eat pizza, right.
But before that, why don't we start by asking Yuri some questions, like how he got into this and what the story of Con Artist is?
Yeah. So as you have gotten at least somewhat of a view today, the convention world is a funny place, and it's a glorious place for people who are nerds like me. I used to go to conventions before I even got into this business. I started out by going to comic book conventions because I like comic books. And then I got introduced to Star Trek and Doctor Who, and so I started going to Trek conventions and Doctor Who conventions. And then I got into this business years later and am now experiencing conventions on a totally different, on like the other side of the table, which is weird, but still super fun. And so Tara, my wife, and I, we would, go to lots of different conventions, and it is really a totally different world, and both for the fans and for the talent who go. And not that they use that word talent to refer to actors and directors and people like that. The fact of the matter is, fans are most of you are all super talented in your own right. We should come up with a different name for that. We should just call them actors talent.
Yeah.
Just call them
actors.
Actors. Actors is a good name. Wow, we don't even have to make up a new word for it. There's already a word. It's called actors. But we found that especially voice actors have a really funny type of fame, because we're not like Xander Berkeley and there, Adrian Paul, or Lou Ferrigno or something, where you'd look at them and go, oh, well, I saw that, I know that guy from that movie or that TV show. You look at us and you're like, I think that guy works at Starbucks. I think that's the guy who works at my Starbucks. But you don't, because we're mostly known for our voice acting. You sort of associate a different image with the voice, and we don't look like that generally. So voice actors, we found when we go to these conventions, enjoy a very particular kind of fame, and that's rude that he left his. We're getting ready to start.
Folks, remember to leave your cell phones on.
Where does he think? I just got a text from Ethan saying, "Getting ready to start your panel." Where does he think our panel? This is where we're supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
Here, I'm gonna have to text him back. Already, all up in it. Hopefully you understand. I'm gonna turn my ringer off because it's rude. So the kind of fame that voice actors enjoy at conventions is nobody knows what you look like, and you walk into the convention, and after you've done like a panel, and people are like, oh, that's what that guy looks like, or that's what that girl looks like. Then you're famous while you're at the convention, and then you walk out the door, and people don't care who you are anymore. Like it's a funny sort of fame, and it has its benefits. We never really worry about paparazzi or any of that sort of thing because people don't know what we look like. But we always thought that was a really funny dynamic. Outside of the convention hall, you're not famous. Inside, you are, and then you go back out, and you're not famous anymore. And so a friend of ours who's a documentary director came to us and said, I think that's also really interesting. We should do a movie about that. And we were like, oh yeah, that sounds like fun. And then he called back 5 minutes later and he said, and we're going to call it Con Artists. And we went, oh yeah, that's yeah, okay, that's going to work. That's what it gelled for us. And so we spent 1 year going to 11 different conventions all over the United States and I think Australia and Canada as well. And we shot real documentary footage, lots of interviews with people and lots of footage of fans and interviews with fans. But then we also made up a lot of stuff because we had all these funny jokes we wanted to tell sort of, about the scene. So basically, it's Tara and I. We play really sort of diva versions of ourselves who think we're better than than everybody else. Going around, going to these conventions, and the trouble that it gets us in. And it took, so we spent a year filming it, and then we spent another year trying to put it together, and some more time filming some extra scenes for it. And then, because the problem was, and I recommend against this in the future, when you shoot a movie, you should have your script first. We were making it up as we went along, and so as a result, it took a lot longer than it should have. And we came up with one ending, and we shot it, and it totally didn't work. So we had to go back and we had to come up with something else. I mean, the nice thing is you can sort of keep molding it as you go, but as with any film, you want to finish it up and move on to the next thing as quickly as you can. So in the end, it took us about 4 years to totally finish the film. Which is a long time. And actually, if you watch the film, we look like Tara has a different haircut. I've gained weight, lost weight. You can tell sort of throughout the course of the film.
It's your version of boyhood, really.
It's my version. Maybe we should have gotten an Oscar. We should have at least been nominated. And then, of course, you enter into the whole world of, well, how do you get the film out there so people can see? You can't just. One thing we learned is, you can't just make a film that you think is good and put it in theaters. You can't just, it's not an easy track. So we were looking for a company that would help us distribute. And because it's a really low budget film, people aren't always willing to, and we don't have any, super famous stars in it. I mean, Will Wheaton's in one scene or two scenes of the film, but nobody wanted to, really take a risk on the film. So we ended up distributing it ourselves on Vimeo. Vimeo has a platform called Vimeo On Demand, and so we put the film up there, and people can finally see it. Because we've been talking about it for 4 years, and everybody's like, we get to see it, real soon. Tomorrow, I think tomorrow, well, maybe not, and I just got sick and tired of people having to wait to see it, so we put it out on Vimeo, and we'll see where it goes from there. But it's full of funny convention-related stories, and stories about voice actors. There are a lot of cameos from other voice actors that we work with. Some of them are really funny. Steve Bloom is in there. Let's see who else is in there. Vic Mignogna's in there. There are a lot of people that you'd recognize. A lot of the cast of Naruto is in there. Mary Elizabeth and Miley, who plays Kate Higgins, who plays Sakura. They were all really game when we went to conventions to play with us, which was really fun. So that's the story of that. If you want to see it, there's a trailer up at conartistsmovie.com, and if you want to watch, if you like the trailer and you want to watch the movie, there's a link there. But it's also vimeo.com/ondemand/conartists, and it's a good time. I have to say now that we've got you cornered, well, you guys are amazing. But Rockabilly Snow White has been our favorite to watch around that. We always, as we sit there and we're at our table, we're like, whose costume do we like? Whose cosplay do we like? And you're very, very welcome. Which is not to sneeze at all at you guys. You guys are great, and you play two of my favorite characters. Are you excited about the new Avengers movie? It's coming out in like weeks from now, like just a couple of weeks. That's what I thought. So I figured we could, technically this is a con artist panel, but I'm happy to talk about, and as soon as Tara gets in here, she'll, be able to field questions as well. I'm happy to talk about anything you guys might be interested in. And that can be con artist the movie, I have questions about that. That can be any of our, acting work that we've done that you want to talk about, or if I like to cook, like if you want to think, what do you do with kale? I can probably got something that I can tell you about. So as Tara comes in and I'm sloppily eating pizza here in about 5 minutes.
Well, why don't we do that? Why don't we open up to some questions from the audience?
It's just to raise your question or raise your hand.
You can probably just shut it out, but
Do you just do voiceovers for cartoon-like things, or is there other things that people do voiceovers for?
The question is. Oh, sorry.
Why do you do that? I mean, like, is it because you don't like the person's voice if they do it for somebody else?
No. I think so. So the question is voiceover for cartoons, or is it for other things as well, or is that?
Yeah.
We do voice acting for cartoons. We also do it for commercials. I'm trying to think of some recent commercials that we might have worked on that you may have heard our voices, on the radio or TV. Kay's Jewelers. I was in a Kay's Jewelers ad recently.
The Gumby Honda.
Oh, the Gumby Honda ad. I don't know if you saw any of those Honda ads over Christmas. There was Gumby and all the retro toys, strawberry shortcake and all that. I played both Gumby and Pokey. That was a little feather in my cap. So you'll hear voiceover in commercials. You'll hear it in cartoons. You'll hear it in, and this falls under cartoons as well, but in dubs of foreign cartoons. More often than not Japanese anime. And in video games. Video games has been a huge job, a huge business for us. Because so many people are making video games these days, and video games get bigger and better. And once upon a time, there was no voiceover in video games. You just looked at it and played it. And now it's like getting to watch and be in your favorite movie for 60 hours. So they've got all sorts of different characters you can interact with, and great storytelling, and the acting just gets better and better, and technology gets better and better. So video games has been great for us, and it's a really useful job to have as an actor, because the on-camera things, the film and TV is hard to get into and keep continuous. There are long periods of time where nobody wants to hire us on a TV show or put us in a movie, and voice acting is yet another way that actors can make money. And it's sad that they don't really teach that. Like when I was at school and I was doing theater, nobody ever talked about voice acting. They were like, well, you're going to do Broadway or you're going to be in a movie. And then you get out here as an actor and you're like, that's this much of the work out there. Where can I don't want to have to just wait tables and temp for most of the time. And so when Tara and I came out to Los Angeles, we were looking for other ways to make money as actors, besides waiting tables. And voice acting came up. Tara mentioned, what about voice acting? And I thought, well, I don't know anything about that. And I was also embarrassed that I hadn't thought of it first, because I was the one growing up playing video games and watching anime. So I should have thought of that first. That's what we should have come out to do. So we just took a basic class to learn about it, and we put our demo together, which is samples of our voices, or samples of the voices, in different kinds of things, commercials and animation, and put that on a CD, or we used to. Now it's just an MP3 that we email out. And then we started booking jobs, little bits here and there, and it's been so much fun for me, because, like I said, I've grown up such a huge nerd, that to get to play some of these characters that I've always like to be on a show like Wolverine and the X-Men, and play Iceman. That was it's not just a job for me, that not everybody always understands that, because some actors didn't grow up with the same background. So, so sometimes it's just a paycheck. And, sometimes for me it is too, but every now and then, okay, that was a lie. It's never just a paycheck for me. I love it. I really, really love it. And getting to play Superman, I got to play Superman once. I mean, how do you play Superman, not just retire after that? But I couldn't, because I still have a mortgage. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's super fun, and there's voice acting also, for an actor, opens so many doors, in the sense that when I'm doing on-camera stuff, when it's film or TV, I'll always play a character that looks vaguely like I look, because you're seeing me. But when I'm doing voiceover, or I'm doing a vocal performance, as long as I can sound like a character, I can be that character. So I've played, I've made a career out of playing teenage boys. I'm a little I'm no longer a teenager, barely. And I played a 75-year-old Japanese guy once. I mean, there's no way that anyone would ever cast, and rightly so. You know, unless you're Eddie Murphy and you're already famous, and they can put all the foam latex, and make you, look like whatever. You could do that, but most of the time they're not gonna entertain that thought. So voice acting really opens up the playing field, and it's hugely empowering for actors, I feel. Plus, you don't have to spend several hours in hair and makeup and waiting for them to set up the lighting and for a shot. You go, and you don't even have to wear pants. We do. I don't want to scare you into thinking that we all record pantsless, which we still want to be rehired again in the future. So. But I mean, theoretically, you could show up in your pajamas and record, and that's kind of cool. So it's not dependent always on who's the prettiest person, who's you can't be on the CW, you're not young enough, pretty enough, or whatever. So it's you know what I'm talking about. And I watch the CW, so it's so Constantine is kind of like a victory because he's neither young. Well, he's handsome. He's handsome in that tore up British way that I find so hot. Anyway, any other questions? Yes.
So you have another project that has ended shelf life. One of my personal favorites, as you know.
Me too.
But it has a new life
Yes.
with an app. So explain the new life.
Thank you for bringing that up. Tara and I formed. I keep referring. This isn't Tara. I just want to. But he is Tara.
I'm sort of the stand-in.
Right, you can be my student Tara till she gets here with the pizza. Tara and I formed a production company about 10 years ago because often, as an actor, you can't choose the roles you want to play. You can't just go, oh, they're casting a new Star Wars? Well, I want to be Han Solo. As much as I would love to do that, you can't always choose that. You go in for as many auditions as you can, and you get the ones that you get, and you hope that occasionally you get one that you really love. And so we formed a production company so that we could take a little bit of the power back and empower ourselves in the sense that we could start writing our own projects and producing our own projects. Low budget as they may be, we were getting to start to play the types of roles that really made us sing, And one of those was actually, again, where I can't believe that I didn't think of it first. We wanted to do a web series that wouldn't be too difficult to produce, too expensive, or to take too much time. And so Tara conceived of this idea of what about 4 action figures on a young boy's shelf, but they're all played by people in costumes on a giant shelf, and we just shoot it, on the giant shelf. And I was like, oh man, I'm the one with the huge action figure collection. Why didn't I think of that? I can't believe I'm embarrassed that you thought of that first. But she did, and she's like, it'll be so easy. I'll just stand on a big piece of wood and then point the camera at it. We don't even need a director or anything. And I'm like, yeah. Or we could do it like this, and then I made it really expensive and really hard to shoot. But over the time, you can sort of see as we did 4 seasons of the show. It's called Shelf Life, and it's sort of like live action Toy Story on crack. And on crack, I mean the action figures. I'm sure at some point literally do crack in one of the episodes. It's sort of like an adult Toy Story. And so we were shooting these episodes, and it allowed us to write and do all this funny stuff that people weren't hiring us to do. And we did 3 seasons on our own, and we really wanted to step it up. And because every episode took place on the shelf, and so for season 4 we really wanted to get them in other places, in the house, but that takes more money. So we did a crowdfunding campaign. We used Indiegogo, which is like Kickstarter, and we crowdfunded season 4, and we were able to raise enough money to really make it different and better. And the problem with that is we got so big in season 4 that to make another jump and make it even bigger and better and funnier and really more effects and more guest stars, we would have had to raise a significant amount of money that we didn't feel like we wanted to beg for. And in addition to a couple of other sort of things that happened, let's just say and let's see how carefully I can say this. One of our actors in Shelf Life was doing a lot of work for a giant media company. Giant media company that has sort of we like our performers to be very clean and clean cut, and our show was very dirty, and so they in not so many words told him he couldn't do our show anymore. So that was one of the reasons we sort of wrapped things up after season 4, but it was this amazing experience. There are almost 50 episodes of the show. Most of them are on YouTube or shelflifeseries.com. There are links to the episodes. And then, a year or so after we had finished the show and wrapped everything up, some friends of ours came to us who are running a company that builds apps. And they said, we think your show is great for us to test our new technology, the things that we're building to build apps. Can we use your show and turn it into an app? And we were like, yes, make our show an app. And so they did. So there's a Shelf Life app that has all of the episodes, all of behind the scenes stuff, all the scripts that you can read, unproduced scripts, all sorts. It's literally everything in all the episodes and all the behind the scenes stuff that you could ever want on the show is now available on an app called Shelf Life: The Complete Package, and it's like $2.99, and you get all 50 episodes and all the other extra stuff. So thanks for bringing that up, because that's sort of new for us. I keep forgetting to mention it because the show is done, but this app is kind of exciting. So Shelf Life, if you like to laugh, watch it. It's not safe for work. So I'll leave it at that. But can be extraordinarily touching at times, and has we have a lot of great cameos show up. We have other actor friends of ours, voice actors, as well as people from TV shows and stuff like that. It's a good time. Any other questions? Because otherwise, I'll just I'm an actor. I'll just talk. I've got stories and stuff like that. That's sort of what. Yes.
Top 3 favorite voiceovers you've done.
Top 3 favorite voiceovers I've done. Oh man, it's hard to narrow it to 3 because, like I said, I'm a geek, so it's.
Fine, top 5. Top 5.
Okay, 5. Okay, 5. Superman has got to be Superman.
Which Superman?
Which Superman?
You've done 2.
That's true because I did both sort of Superman X and Young Superman on Legion of Superheroes. That Young Superman is so close to who I am in real life that it's hard not to side with him. So Superman, the Prince from the Prince of Persia video games. I just love that guy. There's just something, and that was one of my first sort of lead roles ever in a video game. So I have a special place for him. Sasuke from Naruto, just because he's allowed me to explore my dark side in a way that nobody really hired me for before that. I was playing sort of nice, sweet, clean hero characters, and then Sasuke came along and ruined all that. Plus, the reach of Naruto just as a property is huge. We'll go to conventions in New Zealand because I like Naruto. So I owe Naruto and Sasuke a lot for my international travel. There's another anime called Gurren Lagann that I love. So Simone from Gurren Lagann. And then there's a character in a cartoon called Afro Samurai called Kuma. And he's, besides, looking as cool as he does, he's like this ninja with a huge bear head, like teddy bear head. But he's deadly. And the best part about that was Sam Jackson plays Afro Samurai. And I got to kick Sam Jackson's ass, which would never happen in real life, in any world that we live in. And it was funny because I never met him when we were recording because, he's famous. He would record separately whenever they had time for him. And finally there was a video game release party for the Afro Samurai video game, and I went to it, and I saw Sam Jackson, in a little cordoned off area, and so I was like, and I went and talked to his bodyguard, this giant guy. Like Sam Jackson needs a bodyguard. Like who would ever mess with Sam Jackson? But I was like, hey, I worked on the thing with, can I talk to Sam? He's like, yeah, come on in. And I went over and I said, Sam, you know, you've been kicking my ass for 3 years on this show. I figured I should at least come and introduce myself. And he laughed, and he was a super nice guy. I was afraid, I was terrified. As you can imagine, you know, meeting somebody like that. Sometimes I choose not to meet my heroes because I don't want them to be mean in real life, or I don't want them to be having a bad day, because that's the memory I'll have of them. It'll ruin everything, you know, all my memories of them, or all my future, like I won't be able to see movies with them anymore. So it's tough. It's always, sometimes I'll see people because we live in Hollywood, and sometimes those people are just on the street or at Starbucks. And I made a rule of not going up to them to say hi or anything, and I broke that rule once. Speaking of Prince of Persia, all right, I'll tell you. Unless anybody's got a pressing question, I'll tell this story. Okay. So it was for my 40th birthday. I was at my favorite brunch place, and Jake Gyllenhaal sits down like 2 tables away from us. And my rule is, don't bug celebrities in restaurants, because they're just trying to eat something. It doesn't matter if you want to go and say something nice to them, just leave them alone. And so, but because I'm on Twitter, I tweeted, Jake Gyllenhaal just sat down 2 tables away from us at brunch. Maybe I should go over and tell him who the real Prince of Persia is. just I wasn't going to do that, but I knew Twitter would enjoy that. So then I put my phone down, and then 20 minutes later, I picked up my phone again to check something, and everybody was like, "Do it, do it!" retweet, no, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that, because my rule is, and everybody's rule should be, don't bug celebrities in restaurants. Just trying to get a meal. But I had a couple of mimosas, and as we were on our way out, we paid our check, and we were about to walk out, and he's still sitting there, and I'm like, a couple mimosas in, I start to think things like, well, it's not like we wouldn't have something to talk about. He was the Prince of Persia. I was the Prince of Persia first. Like I should go over. It's like we're almost related. And so I walk over to his table, and he's in conversation with somebody else, and so I try to do the polite thing, which is, I'll wait till he's done talking. I don't want to break in. And so I've immediately turned myself into that creepy guy who's now just standing right here outside of your view at your table, and you know exactly what they want. And so I was like, oh no, I've just become that guy. Oh my God, I broke my rule and I'm that guy. Quick, run away. No, I'm already in. So finally, it gets super awkward, because I can tell he knows that I'm there and he's not doing anything. So finally I say, hey Jake, I'm sorry to interrupt your brunch and everything, but I played the Prince of Persia in the video game and you played him in the movie, and I would have felt remiss if I didn't at least come over and introduce myself. And he just stares at me. And then the woman at his table points at me, and in a voice that's far too loud to be polite, says, "You're wearing a fez!" And I was, and I had forgotten. Because it was my birthday, I picked up a fez and put my happy fez on and left the house and didn't even think that. So now I'm the weird guy standing by the table in a fez. And she flusters me with what she says, and I realize what's going on, and I'm like, oh no. And I try to make a joke, and I'm like, I'm probably breaking the physics of games and movies by even talking. And like, I didn't even get that out of my mouth. He goes, yeah, you are. And I was like, and I just stumbled away, just ashamed. Ashamed that I'd broken my rule, and ashamed that I had disturbed his, but then also ashamed that, that we weren't actually related. And so I stumble off, and then I get angry. I'm like, why was he so mean to me? And it's my birthday. It was my birthday. And and I tell the story to a couple of people throughout the day, and about the third time into telling the story, I realize, oh my God, what he may have heard me say when I walked up to him was, I played the Prince of Persia video game, and you're the prince in the movie. Well, what do you say to that? Yes, yeah. So you played the video. Okay, good. I'm glad you played the video. Like, so so I was the jerk in that story, and I guess the moral of the story is don't bother celebrities in restaurants. It never ends well. Although I have heard stories of people who are just an absolute delight when you go up and ask them for it, no matter where they are. I strive to be that kind of person, but I tell you, you're running a risk. Yes.
So the next time you meet Jake Gyllenhaal,
Yeah.
tell him Kyla said his first kiss sucked. My niece is his first kiss.
What? There you go. Now I'm gonna have to find him. You're gonna be calling his agent. Hey, is Jake there? Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, tell him his first kiss. Says his first kiss sucked. Kyla says so. That's funny. What was that in?
They were about 12 or 13. They went to the same school.
Oh, so it wasn't even in a movie. It was like in real life. Oh, that's even better. I love it. And then any other questions? Yes.
Do you hang out with any of the other voice actors outside of conventions?
Do I hang out with any other voice actors outside of conventions? Yeah, actually, it's a really cool little circle of people, and it's funny because Tara and I. Wow, that's
just eating the pizza.
Really good, is all I can say about that.
She's already eating it.
She's right. Oh, that was a trick. Yeah, you go and start the panel. I'll bring those pizzas in.
And she's got all the rest of the food too,
And she's
so
got-
you're screwed, man.
That's true. She's got the snacks.
You know, I had a pizza half an hour ago. It takes half an hour.
It
to
takes.
make.
Oh, okay. So
yeah.
So
So I think it's legit,
Okay.
except for her not being.
Was it worth?
It's the best outdoor fair pizza I've ever had.
I'll take that.
This one should be doing voiceover.
That right there.
No, this one. Eric.
Oh, right here.
On stage.
Well, you should be then. Why don't you?
I don't know.
Let's.
That is a good voice.
Let's fix that. But I love how everybody always thinks that I can magically fix it. They're like people come up to me. They're like, "Hey, my cousin should do voiceovers," and I'm like, "Well, let me just get my magic wand." But because you said that, I believe it now. So we'll talk later.
Producer Loda Hadley, by the way.
Right, Loda Hadley, ladies and gentlemen. Part of the reason why we're all here today and why we're all having fun today.
So much fun.
Yeah. But back to your question, because I do believe that the questions, as far as I get off track, the questions are important. We do TV and film too, but that community is really weird. Like everybody's really, in general, I'm gonna say, they're all real protective of their jobs and afraid that somebody else is gonna steal their job and that, they're gonna be seen the wrong way or they're not pretty enough or whatever, and everybody gets really insecure. The voice acting community, in general, is super supportive and they're really cool people in real life. And so we end up hanging out together a lot. Which I know you probably thought only happened in fan fiction, or one of those fictions. But yeah. So just as a there, the pizza has arrived! Yay, pizza! I mean, yay, Tara! We were waiting on the pizza. We were waiting on Tara.
An hour and 12 minutes.
Holy moly!
We kept shuffling our names to the bottom of the list, so everybody that was in line behind us got their pizza first.
Wait,
It was a little
why?
sad. Because they shuffled our name in poorly.
Man!
But we have pizza!
Yay! Yay, pizza.
Yay, pizza.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tara Platt.
Are we sitting on this table? Is that what
Oh,
we're
you
doing?
don't have to.
No, can I sit behind the table while I eat my pizza?
I'll sit on the corner.
Sort of delicately. It won't be particularly
It's not
delicate.
going to be delicate.
Pardon
At
us while we
least
eat.
mine.
It's very hot because it literally just came
I
out.
wait for it to cool. But so,
What did I miss?
no. We talked about con artists.
Yes.
You guys should watch it. It's really
Can
funny.
we talk about shelf life?
Yes, you should watch it. It's really funny.
We told my Jake Gyllenhaal story.
Oh.
That didn't get the thumbs up. That got the oh.
Well, it is really funny, but you can't really watch it. So.
But you should tell her the new part to the story, what you just got. So the
Oh,
There's a new
yeah,
Jake
Lola
Gyllenhaal
said that that her niece went to school with Jake Gyllenhaal, and when they were 13.
He pretended that he was Yuri Lowenthal? No. Oh,
Yeah.
what? Wait, what? Go back to your story.
They were kissing, and she says that he's a terrible kisser.
Oh.
So next time I meet Jake Gyllenhaal, I'm just gonna throw that in his
Snap.
face.
That's right.
And then we were just talking about if voice actors, if we hang out with other voice actors.
I'm not allowed to hang out with him.
She's forced to hang out with me because we're married. But yeah, as a matter of fact, there was every now and then there would be a party where if like you threw a grenade into the party.
Don't do that, by the way. That's a
No,
terrible
I don't
idea.
do that. Like half the voice actors that you like would just go up because we do hang out. We do.
That's a terrible, terrible analogy. I would just like for the records to show that that's a terrible analogy.
That is terrible. But like for example, recently we were out one night and it was me and Tara and Roger Craig Smith and Travis Willingham and Laura Bailey and Troy Baker and I don't know, like that's enough, right? I mean, Mary Elizabeth McGlynn, we're all hanging out together. And that happens because, I mean, voice actors are cool. I mentioned it a second ago, but I mean, most of the people who are,
It also happens to help that we all live in Los Angeles. So
Yeah,
we're all hanging out together.
Actually, we don't get to hang out with a lot of the Texas voice actors from like Funimation because they live, in a completely different state. But it's a good time. It's a good time. There's a big group who plays D&D together. Matt Mercer and Liam O'Brien and
Ashley Johnson.
Ashley Johnson and Sam
Laura,
Riegel.
Travis.
And Laura and Travis all play D&D together on Saturdays, which is awesome. I'm kind of jealous.
You've gone into their game before.
That's true. That's true. I'm a swing player. When somebody can't make it, sometimes I'll hop in. Excuse me while I eat this pizza, and you guys can think of another question.
Yeah, do you guys have questions? Yes.
Do you ever go to a convention just to go to a convention?
You know, it's an interesting question because I grew up and I didn't even know about conventions. The first time I went to a convention, I was going as a guest. And it's interesting because I think part of it was that I grew up without a television, and so I never had a fandom in the same way because I wasn't watching that kind of content. It wasn't anything that I was familiar with. Whereas Yuri grew up literally going to conventions and standing in line and getting autographs and things like that, but it's just not, it was never part of my experience. And so now, because it is something that I do as a professional thing, I think it would be harder to go back the other way because now I sort of, it's work in a way. Like, it's like, I mean, like I see it in a different fashion, but I will say that I love when we're like working at a con and we have an hour break, I love walking the floor. Like, I like walking the con floor, I like seeing Artist Alley, I like seeing everything that people are doing and creating. But I think of cons too much as, like, I associate it too much with work, so I'm not like, for a free weekend, I'm not like, hey, let's go to a con. But I'm perfectly happy when we're at a con to wander around when we have some free time or downtime and like check it out and see what's going on.
What if we were like a physics convention?
Yeah. I would totally go to a physics convention.
See, I know what she likes.
I like science.
Somebody start a physics convention. Well, there probably are
There
physics
probably are.
conventions. They're probably filled with people much smarter than we are.
Indeed.
Any other question? Yes, sir.
The being voice actors and not being seen, because you're a character on the screen, with more and more movie celebrities coming in being voice actors. How do you see that affecting the voice acting community or voice acting in general?
It's a good question. I'm always in favor of projects getting made because projects getting made means a lot of people get to work. And so if it means that having a celebrity attached to something is going to get a project off the ground or get it moving or have it made, I'm 100% behind it and in favor of it. It's always hard when somebody gets stunt cast, like a celebrity gets a job just because they are a celebrity, and it turns out that they're not particularly suited to the character or not very good at the job that they're doing. But, I mean, who am I to judge, right? Art is an aesthetic, and so it's all subjective, and so I may not like the performance, but somebody else might. So it's sort of a little like, well, you know, who am I to judge? You know, some people like my work, some people don't like my work. I'm always just gonna do the best job that I can in any given opportunity. And so, you know, I'm torn because I would like to play the roles sometimes when those roles are open, and then when they go to somebody else, just because it's a celebrity name, it's like, oh man, they gave that job to so-and-so. But I'm also, like I said, in favor of jobs being created because it's not just that one particular role, it's all the jobs that surround it, everybody else that works on the project. And so I think work begets work begets work, and it's good for people to be working.
Yeah, back to Afro Samurai a second ago. That wouldn't have gotten made if Sam Jackson didn't want to do it. Like, there's nobody who was going to step up and go, yeah, that needs to be made. Nobody. I mean, that property was around for a while, and nobody. But because Sam Jackson said, I want to do that and I'll produce it, it got made, and I got a job as a result. So it's it can be sort of a love-hate sometimes. We can gripe when somebody, you know, from the Jersey Shore or whatever gets a voiceover job because people know who they are, and you know that they were hell to work with. But you know, for every one of those, I'm sure a project gets made because some celebrity was interested in it, and so people, you know, producers started putting money into it. So hard to say. And sometimes those celebrities actually are really good voice actors too. It doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen from time to time, and some of them are particularly good. As a matter of fact, Xander Berkeley, who's at the show today, and he's been on a million shows and TV shows. He's a great actor, and has recently started doing more voiceover for. He was in the Son of Batman, Warner Brothers animated feature, and you know, a bunch of other stuff too. So I guess it boils down to, you know, if you're a good actor, you're a good actor. I don't know, but yeah, that's always a tough question. Yeah. Any other questions? Chuck or otherwise, yes.
Is there any character that you guys played that didn't like the background of the character or the storyline of it?
Oh, well, sure. I mean, we don't always agree with the creative decisions that the writers or producers have had in relation to the character. I mean, it's sort of like, if I'm playing a character whose family has been killed, do I like that as a backstory? No, I don't want their family to have been killed. But at the same time, if it helps to tell the story that's trying to be told, and you need that experience in the past for that character to have the chance to grow from, then that you wouldn't be able to tell the story unless the previous thing had happened. I mean, it's true of life. You know, I mean, I have plenty of friends who've had bad experiences in their past. It doesn't mean that I don't love them as people because they are who they are now, because they've experienced the life that they had. Would I choose to have had those experiences inflicted on them? No. So, I mean, of course there's going to be backstory and other things that are related to the character or the plot that we may not like. I mean, like, I hate in Bambi that they kill the parents at the beginning of Bambi. I've always been opposed to that. But it's not Bambi without that as a backstory, I suppose. So.
And sometimes you can learn a lot from playing a character that you don't agree with, or because, like I said before, you can't always choose the roles you play. This is our living. You know, we audition and we try to, you know, we hope we'll get all the things we audition for. We don't. But like, for example, Sasuke on Naruto, he's consumed with revenge. Like, it's ruining his life, and it's always been really frustrating to see that as a character trait, because I know that revenge, you know, me, Yuri, knows that nothing good can ever come of that, and it will never solve. It will always leave you empty, and it will always leave you enraged, and you'll never get better as long as you are consumed with revenge. And I wish I could tell him that, but you know, he would be an interesting character if he wasn't, you know, fighting with that. So, but I learn a lot about that perspective just from that as well. So that's cool. Yes, Luna.
I want to know, because you're always such a pleasant, really nice person, what you tapped into to get to that bad guy that you had to play.
What do I tap into to play the bad guys? Because
Evil.
I'm such a maybe I'm not really just a nice guy. Maybe I'm acting right now. What do you think about that? No, I think for me, I mean, I think every actor loves to play villains, and I think it boils down to that it gives you an excuse that's not against the law to be be a terrible person and to be forgiven for it automatically, because people are like, oh, well, she's just, it's just an act. So you get to explore all of those things that you'd never do in real life. I mean, for this, in the real life of this character. So for me, because I am a, generally well-natured, happy, nice guy in real life, it's not like I don't have dark feelings. I just don't, I don't show them normally. And getting to play villains and getting to explore them with, characters who are dealing with, darker, twisted issues, allows me to exercise some of that. And I mean both exorcise, like to get them out, as well as to exercise, like to take them out for a run and, try them on and work them out a little bit.
Yeah, it's really fun in a way when you are playing a mean character that's just mean for the sake of being mean, because I'm sure we've all had those days where we're like, oh, today's the day that I want someone to try me, because I'm just like, we all get in moods, right? And it wouldn't have really helped while I was waiting for the pizza if I helped out on the people making the pizza. Like, that doesn't help me, it doesn't help them. Was I unhappy that I had to wait over an hour to? Yes, I was unhappy, but it doesn't really help anybody if I just like totally go ballistic on them. Would my character do that? Absolutely. So I can take this experience, and the next time I'm in there and I have to Hulk out, I'm like, oh yeah, because I can't really do that. I mean, I could have really done that, but I mean, it really wouldn't have helped the circumstance or situation. It doesn't help them make the pizza any faster. It doesn't help me get the pizza any faster. It doesn't make anyone else around me any happier, and so,
As the time went on and you didn't show up, I was imagining.
They carted me away.
Well, I was imagining all the things that could have happened, and one of them was that you had hulked out on them, and that you had to get stopped by stormtroopers, and they tased you.
It's true, I did all that.
Put you in a cage. Mm-hmm. Right. I'm glad that was true. And any other questions? Yes.
So I know that you both enjoy doing your own projects. We talked about Shelf Life and Con Artist, but Tara did a movie not too long ago. It's been some award-winning work, and you've got another couple of projects that you've done recently that are coming up. So can you tell us a little bit about the creative process there, and then also what you guys have coming out next?
Sure. Well, in terms of working with other people, it's always exciting when somebody brings you aboard their project, because then you get the opportunity to not have to be the one generating all of the energy to get the project going, because basically making your own projects is like being a train. Like, you have to be the engine, but you also have to build the train, and you also have to build the train tracks, so you also have to get out there and like nail down every single and you have to be a cheerleader on the train to get the people on the train excited to get the train to go up the hill. Like, it's a lot of work to do your own projects, because nobody's going to be as passionate about the stuff you're doing as you are. And so it's a big energy. I don't want to say an energy suck, but it's a big energy drain, I guess. I don't want to make it sound negative. Expense. It's a big energy expense when you are creating your own work, because you have to be the one that's atlasing. You have to hold it all up in place and keep the ball rolling.
It's like you've only got a certain amount of chakra, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Playing to the crowd, you guys, we just had a big conversation about Naruto, you guys just missed it. But that's okay.
But when you're working with someone else's project, you get to bring the best quality of what it is that you're the best at. So like when I'm coming in as an actor, I just get to come in and just act. I don't have to worry about who's taking care of craft service and if people sign their paperwork and who's coming tomorrow to set, because I have to make sure that we have the correct production insurance, and like, you don't have to wear all the hats at the same time, so you can be a lot more focused. And so for me, getting to show up and just get to act is so much more freeing and so much more relaxing, and it's what I want to do. It's me getting to live my passion and my bliss and what I feel like I can gift the world the most. It's where I feel like I can do the best work that I can. But I don't always get that opportunity, because other people creating projects, everyone's vying for those spots on those projects, which is why we create our own work a lot of the time. And we've been very happy with what we've done with Shelf Life and Con Artists. And right now we actually have a short film that will be coming out soon. It's currently doing festivals. It's called Topsy McGee versus the Sky Pirates. And it's a steampunk adventure short, sort of an alternate alternative, alt-fic stuff timeline.
Tara makes a really good Victorian steampunk adventure, I'll tell you that.
And so that's going to be coming out probably later this year. We're currently festivaling it, so you can't really release it until it's done.
But you can watch the trailer for it at monkeykingdomproductions.com. And then sometimes Tara gets to work on other people's projects. Like she worked with Halle Berry a year ago or so on a movie called The Call. That was fun, and exciting. It's nice to sometimes just show up and be an actor.
Yeah, it's really nice to do that. And then we're always auditioning, and so sometimes we get the opportunity to do TV work on camera. I'm actually doing a film that starts shooting not this week, but the next week. It's a short film, but it's a really great team of people. So I'm really eager to see where that's going to go, because you never know. I mean, like, honestly, short films win Oscars, so who knows? I'm not saying this film will, but that would be nice. If anyone's listening, that would be nice. But so, like, you never know. I just think that work, like I said earlier, work begets work, and so it's always good to be working, whether you're generating your own projects or you're working with other people. And then Yuri just directed his first short film. I'm super proud of him.
I did. Yeah, thank you. Oh no, please. It's funny because directing has never really been something that I was interested in. I know a lot of actors are like, oh yeah, but what I really want to do is direct someday. That's never been me. I'm happy to write and act and produce when I have to, but directing was never like a huge goal of mine. And then I wrote this it was an idea for a short film that I had, and I wrote it, and it's a horror thing because I love genre stuff. I love horror and sci-fi and fantasy. And I wrote it, and I immediately started thinking of all the friends of mine I could get to, would be good to direct it. And I thought about it, and I'm like, wow, it's only 4 pages long, just one actor. Maybe I should try it. Because usually what I do is I write things and other people direct them, and then I complain about how they didn't get it right. So I figured, okay, this one I'm gonna have to direct this, and then if I have any complaints, it's because I messed it up. And just to sort of see what it's like. So yeah, it's a horror short, and hopefully we'll scare the pants off you when it's finally done. It'll probably be festival too, and then we'll put it up on our website. But any questions? I know we just had a new group come in. Any questions about anything? Totally answering any questions. Yes, /fiction questions as well. What?
We were looking for the dog because we were lost, so we were walking around to find this place. I just wanted to ask, was there a moment between, so I know you're both married, and Sasuke and Tamari are not a real couple in Naruto, but was there a moment where you two have to show them a little bit of love, intimacy in there, or something?
In the show?
Yeah. No, while you guys were recording your voice, backstage.
Oh. No, I mean, the thing about when we record anime is that we record solo, so we're always recording separately. So we're never in the same room at the same time. But there's that great moment early on in the series when Tamari's up in the tree and she sees Sasuke and she's like, ooh, local hottie. And we were like, oh my god, we finally get to have a relationship, we're our characters, and then no, because Sasuke's, just obsessed with revenge.
They would have been good together though if they had ended up together. That would have been cool.
That would have been a great pairing. But Sasuke only has room in his life for one girl, and that's revenge. I mean, I know what you said, and we all know who he ends up with, but he's a troubled guy. Can't think about girls when you're thinking about killing everyone in the world. Any other questions? Yes.
What do you feel about the ending of Naruto? How did you feel?
Here's the thing about the ending of Naruto for me, and I'm not gonna spoil anything for people. That I think that they ended. I don't think they could have. I mean, it could have gone so many different ways. Especially when you do a time skip at the end, you're like, oh, here's what happens, 5 years in the future. It could be anything. I think he probably had to go, okay, what ending can I come up with that's going to make the least amount of people furious at me? And so he paired people, that a lot of people wanted to see together in the end, and so on and so forth. And I think he did a pretty good job. I think when you end something that's been going for so long, and that so many people love, you're going to piss some people off. And I think he did about as good as he could do without giving us each personally the ending that we wanted to see. So we'll see. I'm just sad that it's done. It's
I mean, we're still recording.
I mean, yeah, we'll still be recording the anime for like 2 years. But, yeah, I mean, that's just in the manga, you know, the way it ended up in the manga, so, you know, we gotta move on to something else, I guess. We gotta find the next.
Guess so. Keep auditioning.
Yeah, there are plenty of other good shows out there, so I'm not worried. I think we're close to. We have time for probably 1 or 2 more questions. Or we could just, you know, sing in the last 3 minutes.
Yes.
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 I have not. Yeah, a lot of people ask that. They're like, "Do you read the manga so you know what's going on, or do you watch the Japanese version so that you sort of see what's coming?" In the very beginning, I did, and then I just couldn't keep up anymore. So plus, I kind of like the surprise of it. I found from time to time some really honest reactions because I didn't know what was coming. Plus, I just don't have the time to keep up with all that stuff as much as I'd love to nerd out over yet another thing. Thank you for asking. Any last question? Yes.
You did Instant Ready, right? For Gundam Unicorn?
Yes.
Did you kind of feel like it was kind of like Sasuke all over again?
He's, you know, Gritty Marcinus in Gundam Unicorn is also, he's got demons that he's fighting. And, yeah, it's funny because...
Are you calling me a demon? No.
Yes, because, yeah, she literally plays almost a demon in the same show.
Not a demon.
You're not a demon. You're just a badass.
You're just tortured.
Right. Same as me. You know, it's funny, up until a certain point, I only was cast as sort of like squeaky clean hero types. And then I got cast as Sasuke. And they're like, "Oh, now cast him as that guy." So it's funny. That comes up a lot. Those, you know, characters who are dealing with a lot of inner, you know, Suzaku from Code Geass, you know, they look sort of, you know.
Have you played any sweet characters ever since you got cast as Sasuke?
I must have. Nope. No, Simone in Gurren Lagann.
Was that after Sasuke?
Yeah, I think so. It's funny how people start to typecast you. They're like, "Oh, he's good at that. Let's just keep doing that." But that's, hey, I'm still working, so it's really hard for me to complain. Yes. Yeah.
Did you like the ending for it? I don't know if you got to see it.
The ending of Naruto in
of
the
Unicorn.
manga? Of Gundam Unicorn. I mean, I remember recording it. You know, I'll be honest. I was a little let down with the way it came together. But then also because of the way we record it, you know, I was just seeing certain pieces of it. I was just
you don't watch the whole thing straight through while you're recording.
Yeah,
you see your lines, which is a little stilted for story.
So most of the time when we were recording Gundam Unicorn, I was confused by what was going on. I didn't understand what was going on.
I mean, Michael Center Nicholas, who was directing, did try to give us a lot of backstory, but it's always different than when you're just like, okay, so that's what happens, okay, and then you record your lines, but you're not actually watching it through, because you miss little nuances, and sometimes when they're directing you, they don't need to give you the B storyline, because it doesn't affect what's happening with you, because you're not in that, so you don't actually find out that information. And I remember we were at, I forget if it was Anime Expo or whatever, and they did a screening of one of the episodes, and we were both like, oh, that's what the thing is, because that's who that person is. Like, we didn't realize anything about what was going on, which was kind of interesting.
So thank you guys for coming.
Thank you guys for coming. I'm sorry I was gone most of the time. I was at the pizza stand, so.
How was the pizza?
It was actually quite good. I don't know if it was an hour wait good, but it was. I was also hungry, so it was pretty good.
I'm gonna be hanging out for the first half of the next panel, which is the Robotech panel. So feel free to stay around. Otherwise, thank you guys for coming out today.
Yeah, and enjoy the rest of the con because it's a good con. Ooh.
You should know, everyone, that the Robotech panel, Ethan Detmeyer has asked that it be switched over to the combat radio stage.
Oh, great!
So you want to head over
It's
there?
inside, and don't stay here because you won't see it.
We, on the other hand, will be showing the movie taking place in empty space here, called Knights of Justice, based upon a motion picture based upon the comic book film, which is filmed here in our area.
Awesome, perfect. So you could stay here, but you won't see that other panel. So pick your poison.
Or stay for half of this and then go for